Picture this May 3rd, 2024. It's a Friday night. The hip-hop world is buzzing. Social media is on fire. Everyone is waiting, refreshing Spotify, checking Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, waiting for the next move. Drake and Kendrick Lamar, two of the biggest names in hip-hop, are in the middle of a war, not a physical war, a lyrical war, a battle fought through music, through diss tracks, through words designed to destroy reputations. And this isn't just any beef. This is the biggest hip-hop rivalry in decades. Bigger than Jay-Z versus Nas. Bigger than Tupac versus Biggie. This is personal. This is vicious. And the whole world is watching. Over the course of just 1 week in May 2024, Drake and Kendrick Lamar release multiple diss tracks aimed at each other. Each song is more brutal than the last. Accusations fly. Secrets are exposed. Reputations are destroyed. Kendrick accuses Drake of being a fake, a culture vulture, a bad father, and then he goes further. He calls Drake a predator, suggests he's inappropriate with underage girls, implies he's a pedophile. Drake fires back. He accuses Kendrick of being a hypocrite, of domestic violence, of hiding his own secrets. He claims one of Kendrick's children isn't biologically his. The insults are brutal. The allegations are serious. And by the end of the week, one thing is clear. Someone's career is going to be damaged. Maybe permanently. This is the story of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, the beef that shocked hip-hop, the diss tracks that went viral, the accusations that can't be taken back, and the battle that changed everything. Let me take you through how two of the biggest rappers in the world went to war, what they said about each other, why it happened, and who came out on top. To understand the 2024 beef, you need to understand the history. Drake and Kendrick Lamar have been at odds for over a decade, but it wasn't always that way. In the early 2010s, Drake and Kendrick were peers, rising stars. Drake had already achieved mainstream success with albums like Thank Me Later and Take Care. Kendrick was the underground king, earning critical acclaim with Section 80 and his breakout album Good Kid, Mad City in 2012. They collaborated. They showed respect. In 2011, Kendrick appeared on Drake's Take Care album. In 2012, Drake appeared on Kendrick's album. They were friends, or at least friendly. But in 2013, everything changed. On August 14, 2013, Kendrick Lamar released a verse on a song called Control by Big Sean. In that verse, Kendrick called out multiple rappers by name: Drake, J. Cole, Meek Mill, $AP Rocky, Mac Miller, Wale, and others. Kendrick said he loved them all, but he was also trying to murder them lyrically. He said he was the king of New York, king of the West Coast, king of the South. He said he wanted to be the best rapper alive, and everyone else was competition. The verse went viral. It shocked the hip-hop world. Rappers responded. Some were offended. Others respected it. But everyone had an opinion. Drake's response was measured. He said he wasn't bothered. That Kendrick was just trying to stir things up. But behind the scenes, tension was building. Over the next few years, the subliminal shots started. Drake would release a song with a line that seemed aimed at Kendrick. Kendrick would respond with his own subtle digs. Nothing direct, nothing obvious. But the tension was there. By 2024, the subliminals had been going on for over a decade, and then in March 2024 everything exploded. March 22, 2024, Future and Metro Boomin release an album called We Don't Trust You. On the album, Kendrick Lamar appears on a track, and in his verse, Kendrick takes direct shots at Drake. No more subliminals. This is open warfare. Kendrick calls Drake fake, says he's not really from the culture, calls him a pop star pretending to be a rapper, says Drake uses ghostwriters and doesn't write his own music. The hip-hop world reacts. Is this it? Is the beef finally out in the open? 1 week later, March 29, 2024, Future and Metro Boomin release another album, We Still Don't Trust You. Again, Kendrick appears. Again, he goes after Drake, this time harder. Drake is furious. For years he's ignored Kendrick's subliminals, but now it's public. Now Kendrick is calling him out directly. Drake has to respond. April 19, 2024, Drake releases a track. In it he fires back at Kendrick. He calls Kendrick short, says he's overrated, says his albums are boring, says Kendrick is jealous of Drake's success, his money, his fame. Drake also brings up Kendrick's personal life, suggests Kendrick's relationship with his longtime partner is troubled, implies Kendrick isn't as perfect as he pretends to be. The track goes viral. Fans are divided. Some side with Drake, others with Kendrick. Social media explodes. The beef is real, and it's escalating. But this is just the beginning, because in May 2024, things get nuclear. April 30, 2024, Kendrick Lamar releases a diss track aimed directly at Drake. No subliminals, no ambiguity. This is a full-on attack. Kendrick goes hard. He calls Drake a fraud, says Drake is obsessed with him, says Drake copies his style. Kendrick accuses Drake of being a culture vulture, someone who borrows from black culture, from Caribbean culture, from UK grime, without really being part of any of it. But then Kendrick goes darker. He brings up Drake's past, specifically Drake's relationships with younger women. Kendrick suggests Drake has a pattern of inappropriate behavior with underage girls. He doesn't use the word pedophile directly, but the implication is clear. The hip-hop world is stunned. This is serious. These aren't just insults, these are life-destroying allegations. Drake has to respond, and he does. May 3rd, 2024, Drake releases his response. In the track, Drake denies everything. He says Kendrick is lying, making things up to damage his reputation. He accuses Kendrick of being desperate, of trying to stay relevant by attacking Drake. But Drake doesn't just defend himself, he attacks back. He accuses Kendrick of domestic violence, says Kendrick's relationship is abusive, says Kendrick is a hypocrite, pretending to be righteous while hiding his own sins. Drake also drops a bombshell. He claims one of Kendrick's children isn't biologically his, that Kendrick's longtime partner cheated, and Kendrick is raising another man's child without knowing it. If true, this is devastating. If false, it's a vicious lie. Either way, Drake has crossed a line. But Kendrick isn't done. May 4th, 2024, less than 24 hours after Drake's response, Kendrick releases another track, and this one is brutal. Kendrick goes directly at Drake's character. He accuses Drake of having inappropriate relationships with underage girls. He brings up Millie Bobby Brown, the young actress from Stranger Things, who was 14 when she publicly said she and Drake, who was 31 at the time, texted frequently and that he gave her advice about boys. Kendrick also brings up other instances. Times Drake has been seen with young women. Times he's been accused of grooming. Kendrick suggests this is a pattern, that Drake is a predator. Kendrick also addresses Drake's son Adonis. In 2018, rapper Pusha T exposed that Drake had a secret son he hadn't publicly acknowledged. Drake eventually confirmed it, but Kendrick suggests Drake is a bad father, that he's absent, that he doesn't take care of his child. And then Kendrick goes even further. He suggests Drake has another secret child, a daughter, that Drake is hiding another child from the public. Drake has denied this, but Kendrick insists it's true. The track is devastating. It's not just a diss track, it's an assassination. Kendrick is trying to destroy Drake's reputation completely. Hours later, Kendrick releases yet another track, 2 in 1 day. This one is even more personal. Kendrick addresses Drake's family, his mother, his son. He paints a picture of Drake as a broken man, a fake, someone living a lie. The hip-hop world is in shock. No one has ever seen anything like this. Diss tracks used to be fun, competitive. This is personal. This is vicious. This is war. Drake has to respond again, and on May 5th, 2024 he does. May 5th, 2024. Drake releases what he says will be his final response. In it, Drake denies all of Kendrick's accusations. He says there is no secret daughter. He says the allegations about underage girls are false, defamatory, and damaging. Drake accuses Kendrick of spreading lies because he's jealous, because Kendrick's albums don't sell as much, because Drake is more popular, more successful, richer. Drake also accuses Kendrick of being controlled by his record label, of being a puppet. He says Kendrick pretends to be conscious and socially aware, but really he's just as commercial as everyone else. Drake ends by saying he's done, he won't respond anymore, he's said his piece, and he's moving on. But the damage is done, the accusations have been made, the insults have been hurled, and the world is left to decide who won. The beef between Drake and Kendrick divided the hip-hop world. Fans, critics, and other artists all weighed in. Many people sided with Kendrick. They felt his diss tracks were more creative, more lyrically complex, more devastating. Kendrick is widely considered one of the best lyricists in hip-hop. His wordplay, his delivery, his ability to craft a narrative, all superior to Drake's. Critics also noted that Kendrick's accusations felt more credible. The allegations about Drake's relationships with young women had been public knowledge for years. Millie Bobby Brown, Bella Harris, an 18-year-old model Drake was seen with when she was 16. Billie Eilish, who mentioned that Drake texted her when she was underage. These weren't new accusations. Kendrick was just bringing them into the spotlight. On the other hand, Drake's accusations about Kendrick felt less substantiated. The claim about Kendrick's child not being his, no evidence. The domestic violence allegations. Kendrick and his partner have been together for years, and there's never been any public indication of abuse. Many felt Drake was throwing out wild accusations without proof, while Kendrick was highlighting patterns that already existed. But Drake's fans defended him. They pointed out that Kendrick provided no concrete evidence either, that accusations aren't the same as facts, that Kendrick was being reckless, potentially slandering Drake with serious allegations that could ruin his career. They also argued that Drake won commercially. Drake's diss tracks got more streams, more views, more radio play. Drake is more mainstream, more popular. Even if Kendrick won lyrically, Drake won in reach and impact. But most observers, including other rappers, music critics, and hip-hop historians, agreed Kendrick won, and it wasn't close. Kendrick's tracks were better received, his lyrics were sharper, his delivery was more aggressive, and most importantly, his accusations struck a nerve. They aligned with public perception. Many people already saw Drake as someone who appropriates culture, who relies on ghostwriters, who has questionable relationships with young women. Kendrick simply put it all into words. Drake, on the other hand, came across as defensive, scrambling. His accusations felt desperate, and his decision to stop responding was seen by many as an admission of defeat. By the end of May 2024, the consensus was clear. Kendrick Lamar had won the biggest hip-hop beef in decades, and Drake's reputation had taken a serious hit. Let's talk about the most serious allegation in this beef, the one that goes beyond rap battles and enters dangerous territory. Kendrick Lamar accused Drake of inappropriate behavior with underage girls. He suggested Drake is a predator, a pedophile. These are not small accusations. These are career-ending, life-destroying allegations. So where did they come from? Drake has a well-documented history of relationships and interactions with younger women. Some of these interactions have raised eyebrows for years. In 2018, Millie Bobby Brown, then 14 years old and star of Stranger Things, was interviewed and talked about her friendship with Drake, who was 31 at the time. She said Drake texted her frequently, gave her advice about boys, and that they had a close bond. She said things like, "He's great, and I miss him." The public reaction was immediate. Why is a 31-year-old man texting a 14-year-old girl about boys? Many people found it inappropriate. Grooming, some said. Drake never publicly addressed it. Then there's Bella Harris. In 2018, Drake was seen having dinner with Bella Harris, an 18-year-old model. But people pointed out that Drake had known her since she was 16, when her father, music producer Jimmy Jam, introduced them. Was Drake waiting for her to turn 18? Critics suggested yes. There's also Billie Eilish. In 2019, Billie mentioned in an interview that Drake texted her. She was 17 at the time. Drake was 32. She said their texts were friendly, but again people questioned why a 32-year-old man was texting a 17-year-old girl. And then there's Hailey Baldwin, now Hailey Bieber. In 2016, when Hailey was 19 and Drake was 29, they were rumored to be dating, but photos surfaced of them together when Hailey was 16 and Drake was 26. Were they just friends, or was something else going on? None of these instances have been proven to be illegal or definitively inappropriate, but the pattern is there. Drake has repeatedly been connected to young women, often teenagers, in ways that many find uncomfortable. Kendrick Lamar brought all of this into the open. He didn't provide new evidence, but he highlighted the pattern, and in doing so, he forced people to confront the question, is Drake a predator? Drake's response was to deny everything. He said the accusations were false, that he's never done anything inappropriate, that Kendrick was slandering him. But Drake never directly addressed the specific examples. He never explained the Millie Bobby Brown texts, the Bella Harris dinners, the Billie Eilish messages. He just denied and moved on. For many people, that wasn't enough. The beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar had real-world consequences. Drake's reputation took a hit. Streaming numbers for his music temporarily dipped. Some brands distanced themselves. Radio play decreased in certain markets. Public perception shifted. Drake went from being seen as the king of hip-hop to someone whose character was being seriously questioned. Kendrick, on the other hand, saw his reputation soar. He was praised for his lyricism, his courage, his willingness to call out someone more commercially successful. His streams increased. His cultural cachet grew. But beyond the numbers, the beef changed the conversation. It forced the industry to reckon with Drake's relationships with young women. It made people ask uncomfortable questions, and it showed that even the biggest stars aren't untouchable. The beef also reignited debates about ghostwriting, authenticity, and what it means to be a real rapper. Drake has long been accused of using ghostwriters. Reference tracks have leaked showing other writers crafting melodies and lyrics that Drake then records. Drake's defenders say this is normal in modern music, that collaboration is standard, but purists argue that a real rapper writes their own lyrics. Kendrick highlighted this, calling Drake a fraud, someone who doesn't create his own art. And perhaps most significantly, the beef showed that in 2024, in the age of social media, hip-hop beefs are faster, more public, and more brutal than ever. In the past, beefs played out over months or years. Diss tracks were released weeks apart, giving artists time to craft responses. But in May 2024, Drake and Kendrick released tracks within hours of each other. The battle was live. The world watched in real time, and the consequences were immediate. March 2024, Kendrick Lamar takes direct shots at Drake on 2 separate albums. The subliminal war becomes public. April 2024, Drake responds, the beef is official. May 2024, 1 week of chaos, multiple diss tracks from both sides, accusations of pedophilia, domestic violence, secret children, ghostwriting and more. Kendrick accuses Drake of being a predator, a fake, a culture vulture. Drake accuses Kendrick of being a hypocrite, an abuser, a liar. By the end of May, the consensus is clear. Kendrick won. Drake's reputation is damaged. The beef is over, but the impact will last for years. Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, the biggest hip-hop beef in decades. The battle that was fought not with fists, but with words. The accusations that can't be taken back. The diss tracks that will be remembered forever. 2 of the biggest names in music, 1 brutal, public war, and a hip-hop world that will never be the same.